In the headlines, troops of Operation Forest Sanity kill bandit leaders in Kaduna Forest. Worshippers trapped as truck rams into Suleja Mosque. Nigeria's unemployment rate rise to 41% in 2023. And on the international scene, at least 40 killed in Myanmar military air attacks. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sagir Ibrahim. Hello and welcome once again. Now the news in detail. Troops of Operation Forest Sanity on Tuesday said its operatives ambushed and neutralized two bandits in Kaduna State. The acting deputy director, Army Public Relations of 1 Division, Nigerian Army, Lieutenant Colonel Musa Yahya, confirmed the incident in a statement in the state. Yahya said following a tip-off from an intelligence source, troops of Operation Forest Sanity under the 1 Division Nigerian Army ambushed and successfully neutralized two bandits leaders, capturing arms, ammunition and other equipment. He said items recovered from the bandits included 1 motorcycle, 2 AK-47 rifles, 6 AK-47 magazines, 250 rounds of 7.2 to 6.2 mm special ammunition, 1 power bank, 2 charm vests, and the sum of 200,000 naira. The general officer commanding 1 Division Nigerian Army and Force Commander Joint Task Force Operation Well Punch, Major General Taurid Lagbaja, commended the troops for their professional conduct and perfect execution of the task. Also, Bauchi State Security Council has warned religious leaders to be guided in their preachings during and after the month of Ramadan to avoid insightful comments that are capable of disrupting peace and stability in the state. The chairman of the council and secretary to the state government, Ibrahim Kashim, who briefed journalists at the end of the emergency security meeting held at the government house on Monday, said 2 major issues threatening relative peace in the state were discussed. Trust TV Adamu Imam was there and now reports.
By an Islam, Ibrahim Kashim said the recent preaching by an Islamic scholar in the state during a Ramadan tafsir has generated a lot of heat, reactions and counter-preachings that may not augur well for the peaceful coexistence of people of the state.
We are resolved that Bauchi is a very peaceful place and we'll do everything within our power to make sure that it remains peaceful. We are not going to allow anybody, either through actions or utterances, to disrupt the peace that we have been enjoying in the state. And that's why we felt it is important that we meet here today and then after our meeting to brief you members of the press and the public. The state government is aware of its responsibilities. One of its major responsibilities is to provide security and guard the lives and properties of people. We are a multi-religious society and we are multi-sectoral. People have different sects. Everybody has the right to practice his religion, and nobody, and I repeat, nobody has the right to determine for anybody how he goes about his own worship. And we're not going to allow anybody henceforth to insult anybody or insult the faith of anybody or insult the people that other people hold as dear to their faith. And we are saying it in all honesty. We are determined. You can see the whole gamut of the security apparatus is here, and we are going to make sure that the peace that we enjoy in Bauchi State remains so. Thank you very much.
The chairman noted that the resurgence of young armed group popularly called Ansara Suka, who are attacking innocent residents and looting their belongings, was also discussed extensively.
There was also the issue of some youth, popularly known as Sarasuka, who had been marauding some parts of the state capital and other cities in the state, for which we have we are glad to inform the public that we have dealt with it, and the people can go about their business without any let or hindrance.
While admitting that insightful statements are bound to cause division between people, the council said government will not allow anybody, either through actions or utterances, to disrupt peace the state is enjoying. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Also, a trailer loaded with powdered milk rammed into a mosque at Suleja, Niger State on Tuesday, leaving at least 3 persons trapped. The accident occurred around 6 a.m. when many had left the mosque after the morning prayers. According to eyewitnesses, the trailer fell on the back section of the mosque where women and children pray. However, 3 people, including a child, were trapped in the ruins and subsequently sustained injuries. When our reporter visited the scene, sympathizers were seen around the fallen vehicle, which blocked parts of the ever-busy Bida Road close to the popular Babangida Market. Also, the National Population Commission, NPC, says it is adopting what it called hybrid methodology with the use of natives to ensure a hitch-free census in insecurity-prone communities in Rafi, Shiroro, and Mariga, among other local government areas of Niger State. The State Federal Commissioner in the Commission, Mohammed Atijo Usman, made this known at a one-day capacity-building workshop for Census Committee on Processes and Methodology of the 2023 Population and Housing Census in the state. He said with the advocacy and awareness so far undertaken by the Commission and the methods to be used where natives would be the head counters, resistance to participate among citizens in security challenging areas would be minimal. Asked whether the natives to be used would not manipulate the figure in favor of their localities, the Federal Commissioner said the headcount would be monitored from Abuja, saying the NPC is using international best practices to ensure that the outcome is acceptable.
We have what we call the hybrid. Already satellite maps have captured those areas. Now, during the period of actual selection, we have a strategy that we use the natives to enter those places and count those. So everybody will be counted, including fishermen, nomads, and madmen even. With this digital census, that is no longer possible, because in that one census that you talked about, which had challenges, you're only counting persons. You can sit somewhere and begin to fill forms. This one, you go to a building, and as an enumerator is going towards the building, he is being watched from the monitors. In Abuja, the DQMs are looking at what you're doing and say, no, go to that place. You are not yet there. And so we cannot put in number unless we have an interview with a respondent. So it will be accurate census. What we want you to do is to help us spread this news so that the census will be acceptable. And we are using best international practice, best global practices to make sure that the census is acceptable.
Also, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Oil Theft is inviting several higher-ranking officials in the federal government over its investigation into the alleged loss of over $2.4 billion in revenue from illegal sale of 48 million barrels of crude oil export in 2015. The Ad Hoc House Committee is investigating a whistleblower's allegation of illegal sale of 48 million barrels of Nigeria's Bonny light crude in China in 2015, valued at $2.4 billion. The committee is also concerned about the disparity in figures from crude oil sales from 2011 to 2014 and is accusing the Minister of Finance of approving payments to whistleblowers in variance with the whistleblower policy. Some of the officials invited on Tuesday to answer questions are the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. Also summoned are the Acting Accountant General of the Federation, Silva Okoliabo, and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, among others. Also, multinational consulting firm KPMG says Nigeria unemployment rate had increased to 37% in 2022 and will further increase to 40.6% due to the continuing inflow of job seekers into the job market. The firm, in a newly released report tagged KPMG Global Economy Outlook Report H1 2023, said unemployment will continue to be a challenge due to the slower than required economic growth and the inability of the economy to absorb the 4 to 5 million new entrants into the Nigerian job market every year. The report also said that in 2024, the unemployment rate will grow to 43%, while inflation will accelerate to 20.3% in 2023 and 20.0% in 2024. The KPMG further noted that the incoming administration will face a deeply rooted, challenging environment characterized by fragile and slow economic growth and challenges in the forex exchange market. The firm projected recovery in telecommunications and trade services, as well as an expected recovery in the oil sector on account of measures being taken to tackle insecurity issues to drive the forecast of the 3% growth in 2023. Also, 70% of the operational cost of most poultry, agriculture, and other livestock operations are taken up by animal feed. Sadly, Nigeria's animal feed sector remains underdeveloped, largely due to high production cost. Stakeholders are seeking to improve the fortunes of operators in the industry by tackling the challenges which has limited the expansion of Nigeria's animal feed sector. Neil Sampson has more on the report.
Nigeria is the 40th leading country in livestock feed production in the world. The sector has the potential to do much more if it is able to harness alternative food resources for food production of animal feed.
In any kind of animal husbandry, one very important aspect of it is that you are able to feed the animals. And we are talking about food security and nutrition security for humans. Equally, we'll have to do the same for the animals because they are what we consume. And if we don't feed them well, they get sick, and we consume, we might end up getting sick. And it's very important that we go and look for alternative sources of feed, not just the usual grass.
Livestock production, as we all know, represents most of our protein intake in Nigeria. And protein is very important for growth, whether you're talking about children, whether you're talking about pregnant women. In general, it's very important for our development as a people and for our health as a people. So it's all connected. And part of the job of the media, which you and I represent, is to help set the agenda for what is important, what is in the public interest.
But it doesn't stop at improving on the world ranking. Expanding Nigeria's animal feed sector will not only boost production levels, but will also improve the lot of the country's livestock consumers.
The same ingredient that human beings consume are the same ingredient we are using to produce animal feed. The prices are so high that when we use them to produce animals, the cost of the end product is too high for the people to afford. That's why the egg is expensive in the market. That's why a kilogram of meat today is between 2,500 and 500 naira.
We talk about unemployment in the country. So once we intensify, it will generate, people say agriculture can generate employment. It's a fact. But the kind of employment that we really need, it has to do with processing and intensification. The time bomb of unemployment are those semi-skilled. When I say semi-skilled, I'm talking about graduates or those who have NCE, OND, HND, the first degree. These are the time bomb. They are a bit skilled, but not very skilled. But those are the people we really need in processing.
The animal feed sector in Nigeria is estimated at about more than $2 billion. It continues to attract significant local and foreign investment in large-scale feed mill operations and could be another major source of employment if improved on. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Reasons why some families bury corpses at home. This and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Update on Trust TV. Now, a recap of our top stories. Troops of Operation Forest Sanity kill bandit leader in Kaduna Forest. Worshippers trapped are struck rams into Suleja mosques. Apologies for the earlier mix-up. We move on to other stories now. Small-scale poultry farmers in Jos, the Plateau State capital, are recalling how the new Naira policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria negatively affected their businesses, with many saying they lost significant part of their capital. The farmers also explained that getting the money to buy feeds for their chickens at that period was difficult as customers had stopped coming to buy eggs. Adu Musa completes the report.
Although many business owners were affected by the policy, some were more affected than the others, considering the nature of their businesses. Poultry farmers in the state say the level of havoc the CBN policy wreaked on them could not be quantified easily, as they lost millions of naira. They recall that beyond the prices of the commodity crashing drastically, eggs got spoiled on a daily as patronage almost came to a total end. It wasn't an easy period for us because we lost a lot and couldn't believe it. We buy feed with our money and nobody to buy the eggs. We begged people to buy but couldn't get them. It wasn't that the policy has affected us only, but rather killed us. The degree of loss is too much. A crate that was sold 2,100 became 1,000 naira. It was a huge loss.
Of course, the cashless policy really affected our small-scale farming at home, because before the cashless policy, we do have so many customers that do patronize us. But when the cashless policy came, because of the lack of cash, the customers didn't have the money to come and purchase the eggs again, and the eggs keep piling up and some even getting rotten. Due to the lack of cash, to purchase feed for the chickens that are in the farm was also an issue because of lack of cash.
As a poultry farmer, it affects us in such a way that we are having layers and the broilers chickens. So through their eggs or the eggs they lay, we used to sell and buy feeds for them. So the price of the eggs dropped down to the 1,200 or 1,003.
The farmers, however, hope that business will return to normal after the reintroduction of the old Naira notes. Our hope is in the hands of God, because government cannot do anything for you. They promised time without number but couldn't fulfill. We are looking up to God for intervention.
We don't want any problem to be more than the one we have already faced. Our hope is that we will have more solutions, more than problems, and make sure that it's going to be of great importance to us and to the society too.
They call on the government to come to their aid to enable small-scale farmers remain in business. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Away from Jos, in Katsina, residents are groaning under epileptic power supply over the past 19 to 20 days, especially in the state capital. The dissatisfied residents say the problem, which started a day to the commencement of the Ramadan fast, is heightened to the extent that difficulties in water supply and other basic needs that require adequate electricity supply has become hard. Abdullahi Yamadi reports.
In many areas of the ancient city of Katsina, residents get electricity supply for 1 to 2 hours daily at most. The most worrisome situation is that even when there is electricity, the voltage is too low to power refrigerators, air conditioning units, boreholes, and grinding machines.
Concerning this time of Ramadan fasting, we are suffering. We don't have even this cool water that we won't break our fast with it when it is during break, and there are so many things that we are lacking.
Most of the businesses that requires adequate electricity supply have been grounded. These tailors say if the situation does not change, they may have problems with their customers because of their inability to meet up with the deadlines just a few days to Salah festivities. It's not just about irregular supply, but also about low voltage. Sometimes you can see light, but it can't power anything, not even charging your mobile phone. There is need for quick intervention. I, for instance, have closed shop and moved to another business that does not require electricity supply to feed my family. I can't fold my arms waiting for something that is not certain. Observers say the failures of the power sector has caused many small and medium businesses to fold up. However, electricity officials argue that the problem is from generation and transmission and not from distribution, which is their only responsibility at Katsina end.
Presently, the level of water is very low, so the generation companies that use hydro, hydro generations companies, they are facing shortage of water level. So as a result of that, the generation is very low. And secondly, the other source, that is the thermal generation companies that use gas, they are facing shortage of gas.
Many Katsina residents are finding the epileptic power supply unbearable and the period of the Ramadan fast more tedious, and this is compounded by the harsh weather and economic realities coupled with. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Graves are commonly seen in the front, beside, or at the back of ancient houses in typical Yoruba family compounds. Some go to the extent of burying corpses inside their houses and live comfortably with the dead, a practice attributed to culture. Hamid Oyibadi has more on the report.
Yoruba culture is very rich and engaging even as religion and modernity takes its toll on the Yoruba cultural heritage. One of the aspects of Yoruba culture is on the brink of extinction is burial arrangement and rites. In the past, relatives would bury remains of departed relations in the family compound or the house of the deceased. This allows unrestricted access to the dead.
Yoruba people bury their parents inside their room or inside their parlor. They can still go there and invoke the spirit of ancestor. Call upon the ancestor to come to their aid.
When somebody died, people prefer to bury them at home, simply because if they consult the oracle and the oracle asks them to perform sacrifice to such person, so they will go easily to the grave and pray and do whatever necessary the oracle asks them to do.
It's part of our culture, because when people die from your compound, you have to bury him or her at your family compound. But now, I don't think our people, they are not doing it again now.
However, there's a legal twist to this. Lawyer Adeniton Akinola says the culture of burying corpses at home is punishable under the law.
Nigeria, now let's look at it from a legal perspective. Nigerian law forbids the burial of a dead body in residential apartment. Section 246 of the Criminal Act, in the Criminal Code Act, provide that anybody who buries a corpse in a residential apartment or at a certain distance, that such a person is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to 6 months imprisonment upon conviction. But of course, because there is a synergy between law and the culture of a people, so it's difficult to enforce such a law. That's why it's rare for you to hear that somebody has been convicted for burying his mother or father in his resident apartment. Because by the culture of the people, we revere the dead, we honor the dead, and we still carry the dead as if they are alive. That's why we have to bury them with expensive casket, still bury them in our sitting room or bedroom. And that makes the law very difficult to enforce. But the law is the law, and it is clear.
It goes without saying that the law forbidding burial of corpses at home is unenforceable due to the impact of culture. The implication is that the decision to bury corpses in the residences is left to individual preferences.
And on the international scene, Myanmar's military has launched air attacks on central town known to be a bastion of opposition to the coup carried out 2 years ago. Reports say dozens of people were killed and wounded in the attack on Tuesday, one of the worst since the military seized control of the country. The air raids occurred as residents gathered for the inauguration of an administrative office. 40 people are so far confirmed dead, with the death toll likely to rise. No immediate response from Myanmar's military rulers was available. 3 first responders were killed in the second attack while rescue workers were work was being carried out. And in sports, the Super Falcons of Nigeria on Tuesday hammered 2023 World Cup co-host New Zealand 3-0 in their second friendly game in Turkey. It is the Falcons' second win in Turkey after edging World Cup debutants Haiti 2-1 last Friday. Also, Randy Waldrum's side have now won their last 3 games. Goals from skipper Onomebi, Jennifer Echegini and Desire Oparanozie secured the comfortable win for the 9-time African champion. The Falcons are in the Group B alongside Australia, Canada and debutant Republic of Ireland at this year's Women's World Cup. They will open their campaign against Canada on July 21st in Melbourne. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update at this hour. Do well to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.